Maya stepped onto the boot camp grounds with a quiet confidence. The sun had just begun to rise, painting the sky in shades of pink and gold. Birds chirped in the distance, and the fresh morning air felt cool against her skin. She adjusted her backpack and took a deep breath, ready for the first day of training. As she walked past the rows of recruits, she noticed a few of them staring at her. Whispers floated through the air, sharp and mocking. "Who does she think she is?" one boy asked loudly. "She looks lost already," a girl added with a laugh. Maya kept walking. She had learned long ago that ignoring people like this was the best defense. Her mind drifted to the past, to a time when she had faced real challenges, missions that tested her courage and strength. Those memories were her armor. No words from strangers could shake her. The drill instructor's whistle pierced the air. "Fall in," he barked. Maya quickly lined up with the others. She stood at the end of the line, aware of every glance thrown her way. The whispers continued, growing bolder. "You sure you belong here?" one recruit asked. Maya smiled slightly but did not answer. She knew her worth was not measured by anyone else's opinion. She focused on her breathing and waited for the next command. "Today will be tough," the instructor said. "We will see who has the heart to finish this training. Listen carefully, follow orders, and respect your team." The recruits nodded, some nervously, some with overconfidence. Maya felt a thrill run through her. This was her place. She could feel it in her bones. The first exercises began. Running laps, climbing ropes, carrying heavy packs. Sweat dripped from foreheads. Muscles ached, and the air was filled with grunts of effort. Maya moved steadily, keeping her pace. Some of the recruits struggled, panting loudly, while others tried to show off. The mocking comments did not stop. "You'll never keep up," a boy shouted as she passed him on a lap. Maya ignored him. She remembered her training from her past missions, the skills she had honed quietly without needing anyone's approval. Each step she took felt like proof of her resilience. During a break, some recruits gathered in a small circle, whispering and pointing at her. "Look at her arms," one girl said. "Does she even know what she's doing?" Maya felt a brief flash of irritation but pushed it aside. She knew that what they could not see, what she had endured, made her stronger than any words could break. She reached for her water bottle and took a slow sip, letting the sun warm her face. The instructor blew his whistle again. "Form a line." "Next drill." Maya joined the new line. The exercise was more difficult this time. They had to carry heavy logs across the field. Some recruits complained loudly. Others dropped the logs halfway, giving up. Maya gritted her teeth and continued. She lifted the log steadily, her arms straining but her spirit unbroken. By the time the exercise ended, sweat soaked her clothes, her muscles ached, and her lungs burned. Yet she stood taller than many around her. Some of the recruits glanced at her with surprise. They had mocked her in the morning, but now they could not deny her determination. As the day continued, more drills, more running, and more physical challenges awaited them. Maya focused on each task, refusing to let the whispers and laughter distract her. She knew that one day those who mocked her would see something they could not ignore, a proof of strength and experience hidden beneath her calm exterior. As the sun reached its peak, the recruits gathered for a short rest. Maya sat quietly, wiping sweat from her forehead, her mind already preparing for the next round of challenges. She felt a quiet pride. Today had been tough, but she had faced it without fear, without complaint, and without surrender. The first day of boot camp was only beginning, and Maya already knew that this was where she was meant to be. She looked around at the others, their faces a mix of fatigue and surprise, and she allowed herself a small, confident smile. Soon they would understand that strength came in many forms, and Maya's story was just beginning. The morning sun had climbed higher, and the boot camp grounds shimmered with heat. Maya stretched her arms and prepared for the next round of drills. The first day had tested her, but she felt stronger than ever. Her determination made her focus sharper than the others around her. As the recruits lined up for a new exercise, whispers followed her again. Some of the boys snickered, and a few girls whispered behind their hands. "Does she even know how to lift that?" one boy asked. "She probably can't run for 10 minutes straight," another added. Maya ignored them. Their words were empty. She had faced far tougher situations before, though none of these recruits knew that. Her past was a secret, a story hidden beneath quiet eyes and calm movements. The instructor blew his whistle. "Obstacle course, move!" Maya took a deep breath and sprinted toward the course. Wooden walls, muddy pits, and rope ladders awaited. Many recruits stumbled immediately, slipping in the mud or hesitating at the first wall. Maya did not hesitate. She ran, jumped, and climbed with steady precision. Each step felt familiar. Her body moved like it remembered something long ago, something trained and disciplined. As she reached the top of the first wall, she glanced down at the others struggling. Some were exhausted, some panicked. She landed carefully and kept moving. The mud pit came next. She ran, jumped, and landed in the thick mud, not faltering at all. A few recruits paused, staring at her with a mix of surprise and disbelief. One boy shouted, "How is she doing that?" Maya simply kept moving. She had no time for answers. The final part of the course was a rope ladder dangling over a small trench. She gripped the ropes and climbed steadily, her muscles burning but her focus unshaken. At the top, she paused for a moment and looked at the others still struggling below. A quiet satisfaction filled her. They had mocked her this morning, but now they could see her strength. After the obstacle course, the recruits were sent to a shaded area to rest. Maya sat on the grass, catching her breath. She wiped sweat from her forehead and glanced around. Some of the recruits avoided her eyes, others stared, clearly surprised by how well she had performed. One of the girls, a tall recruit with a serious face named Lena, finally spoke. "You're really strong," she said quietly. Maya gave a small smile. "Thanks," she replied simply. Lena nodded. "I didn't think anyone could do the obstacle course like that on the first day." Maya shrugged. "I've trained before. That's all." The boy who had mocked her earlier came closer, his face pale and nervous. "Wait, what have you done before?" he asked, almost whispering. Maya looked at him calmly. She didn't answer. Her secret was safe. Later, during a short break, recruits were asked to sit in a circle. The instructor watched carefully, and Maya noticed the curious glances toward her arms. She realized it was time to show a small part of her story. Slowly, she rolled up her sleeves. A faint, intricate tattoo appeared along her forearm, a symbol that was small but carried great meaning. The room fell silent. The tattoo was not just ink. It was proof. Proof of her courage, her missions, and her past experiences that none of the recruits could understand yet. The boy who had mocked her looked pale. His lips trembled as he tried to find words. What is that?" he asked finally. Maya looked at him steadily. "It's part of a mission I was on," she said. "Something called Operation Phantom Dust." The words hung in the air. Some recruits whispered among themselves, their previous mocking replaced with awe and uncertainty. Maya felt calm. She didn't need approval, but now they could see that she was more than they had assumed. The instructor blew the whistle again. "Training continues?" Maya rolled her sleeves down and stood up. She joined the group for the next exercise with steady confidence. The others now treated her differently. The mockery had faded, replaced with curiosity and respect. Even though the day was far from over, Maya knew one thing clearly. She had made her presence known. She had shown that strength could not be judged by looks, words, or first impressions, and she knew that soon, the full story behind the tattoo would become clear to everyone around her. As the sun moved higher in the sky, Maya continued her training, her mind steady and her heart ready. Bootcamp had only just begun, but she was already leaving a mark that no one could ignore. The afternoon sun shone brightly over the bootcamp grounds, casting long shadows on the dusty earth. Maya wiped her forehead and adjusted her backpack before joining the next exercise. The first day had been challenging, but she felt stronger than ever. Her movements were steady, precise, and calm, a contrast to some of the recruits who were still struggling. The instructor gathered the group near a line of tall walls and announced, "Next drill is teamwork and strategy. You must carry supplies across the field together. Listen to your team and don't drop anything." Maya glanced at the others. Some recruits exchanged nervous looks, unsure how they would manage the task. The boy who had mocked her earlier seemed especially tense, avoiding eye contact and keeping his distance. Maya walked toward the supplies confident. She did not need anyone's approval, but she knew that today, she could show her skills in a way that helped everyone succeed. "Let's start," the instructor said. The team lifted the supplies together, but almost immediately they struggled. Logs slipped from hands, bags of equipment bumped into one another, and frustration grew. A few recruits argued loudly, blaming each other. Maya stayed silent, moving carefully and adjusting the supplies to make the work easier for everyone. "Here, hold it steady." she said to a boy whose arms were shaking. Her voice was calm, and her presence gave the others a sense of order. Slowly, the team began to move more efficiently. Maya directed without commanding, helping without showing off. By the time they reached the other side, the recruits were breathing heavily, sweat running down their faces, but they had completed the task without dropping a single item. Some of them looked at Maya with new respect. Even the boy who had mocked her earlier could not hide his astonishment. You actually helped," he said quietly, still catching his breath. Maya smiled gently. "We all succeed when we work together," she replied. After a short water break, the instructor gathered the recruits for another challenge, a timed navigation exercise across the forested part of the boot camp grounds. Each team had to find checkpoints using only maps and compasses. Many recruits panicked at the thought, unsure of how to read the maps correctly. Maya studied the instructions carefully. She had learned navigation in her past missions, and she quietly noted the landmarks and distances. The whistle blew and the team set off. Maya moved with confidence, guiding her small team carefully. She pointed out markers and suggested routes, helping them avoid traps and dead ends. Some recruits followed her advice reluctantly at first, but as they moved, they realized she was right. The forest was tricky, with fallen trees and muddy paths, but Maya's calm determination made the journey easier. At one point, the boy who had mocked her earlier stumbled and almost fell into a muddy ditch. Maya grabbed his arm and pulled him to safety. "Be careful," she said simply. The boy's face turned red, not from anger but from surprise. He had underestimated her before, and now he could see her strength. By the time the team reached the final checkpoint, the sun was lower in the sky. They had completed the exercise faster than most other teams. The instructor raised an eyebrow, clearly impressed. "Excellent work," he said. "You all showed discipline and teamwork. Some of you learned quickly who can lead without forcing it." Maya's team smiled quietly. For the first time that day, she felt that the other recruits were starting to notice her for more than just her appearance or her tattoo. They saw her skill, her calm, and her ability to help others succeed. As they rested under the shade of tall trees, whispers began to circulate. The tattoo on Maya's arm, combined with her confidence and skill, was becoming a topic of curiosity. The recruits who had laughed at her earlier now looked at her with cautious admiration. Maya noticed, but she did not seek attention. She simply continued to prepare for the next challenge, focused and ready. She knew that boot camp was more than physical strength. It was about patience, intelligence, and teamwork. And today, she had shown that she possessed all three. As the sun dipped closer to the horizon, casting a warm orange glow across the grounds, Maya felt a quiet satisfaction. The first day had been tough, but she had navigated it with strength and wisdom. Soon, the others would understand that her story, and the mysterious tattoo from Operation Phantom Dust, was far more than anyone could imagine. Maya stood tall, ready for the next challenge. Her eyes calm, her mind sharp, and her heart steady. Boot camp had only just begun, and she was already making her mark. The next morning, the boot camp was alive with energy. Birds sang and the air smelled fresh after a light rain. Maya woke early, feeling alert and ready for the day ahead. She had learned that every moment counted at boot camp, and she wanted to make the most of it. As she arrived at the training grounds, she noticed the other recruits already warming up. Some of them glanced her way, their eyes a mix of curiosity and hesitation. The tattoo on her arm had become the quiet topic of conversation overnight. Those who had mocked her the day before now looked at her differently, but Maya did not seek their approval. She focused on her own readiness. The instructor blew his whistle sharply. "Today's challenge will test your problem-solving and endurance. Listen carefully and follow your instincts." The recruits were divided into small groups and given a set of obstacles to navigate. There were climbing walls, balance beams, and a series of tunnels. Each team had to complete the course while carrying small weighted packs. Maya joined her group, which included the boy who had mocked her first, a girl named Nina, and a quiet young man named Amir. Maya led without forcing leadership, quietly guiding her team with careful suggestions and encouragement. "Take it slowly on the beams," she advised. "Don't rush or you might fall." The boy hesitated at first, but he trusted her calm voice. Together they moved steadily, crossing the beams without incident. When they reached a steep wall, Maya showed them how to find handholds and leverage their strength. One by one, the team climbed successfully. As they entered the tunnels, darkness surrounded them. Many recruits hesitated, unsure of the path ahead. Maya's calm presence helped them move forward confidently. She held their hands when needed and pointed out the safest routes. By the time they emerged from the tunnels, the sun was warm on their faces, and they had completed the first part of the course. During the short break, the recruits gathered near a small creek to drink water. The boy who had mocked her earlier looked at her quietly. I didn't think you'd be this good," he admitted, his voice low. Maya smiled gently. "It's not about being good. It's about learning and helping each other," she said. He nodded, still a little unsure. Maya realized that respect was slowly replacing doubt among the group. The instructor called them back. "Final part of the course," he announced. "You will carry the packs up the hill across the field and back. Work together, and remember the training you have learned." The hill was steep and the sun was high in the sky. The recruits groaned, but Maya encouraged them calmly. "We can do this. Take it one step at a time." Step by step they climbed. Maya adjusted the packs when someone stumbled and offered words of encouragement. They moved steadily despite the sweat and exhaustion. By the time they reached the top, the instructor watched with a nod of approval. "Good work," he said. "Some of you have learned the value of teamwork today." As they walked down the hill, the boy who had mocked her earlier tripped and nearly fell. Maya reached out and steadied him. "Careful," she said simply. He looked at her, a mixture of surprise and gratitude in his eyes. By the end of the exercise, the recruits were exhausted but smiling. The shift in their attitude toward Maya was clear. She was no longer just the quiet girl with a mysterious tattoo. She was someone who had earned their trust and respect through action, patience, and skill. As the sun began to set, casting long shadows across the field, Maya took a moment to herself. She knew that her past, the mission she had completed, and the tattoo that marked Operation Phantom Dust would soon become part of the story she would share in her own time. For now, her actions spoke louder than words. Maya felt a quiet satisfaction as she looked at her team. Today had been another test of endurance and skill, but it had also been a test of character. She had proven that strength was not only physical but also mental, and that leadership was earned, not demanded. Bootcamp had already begun to change her team's perception of her. The day's challenges had shown them that Maya was capable, disciplined, and determined. And as the sky turned shades of pink and orange, she knew that the real journey was just beginning. The sun rose early, spilling golden light across the bootcamp. Maya woke with a sense of purpose. She had grown more confident over the past few days, and she felt ready for whatever challenge the instructor had planned next. As she approached the training grounds, she noticed the other recruits preparing for the morning exercise. Some of them whispered, their eyes darting toward her tattoo. Even those who had mocked her before now seemed curious. Maya walked calmly, adjusting her sleeves. She did not show off, but the tattoo remained a quiet reminder of her past, one that carried strength and experience. The instructor blew his whistle sharply. "Today you will face endurance and strategy together. You must navigate the hill, the river, and the forest. Work as a team and pay attention to your surroundings." Maya joined her team. The boy who had mocked her first, now called Liam, nodded at her quietly. Nina and Amir were already moving with steady steps. Maya felt a sense of responsibility for them, not as a leader but as a guide. "Follow me carefully," she said. "I know a good route through the forest." The team moved swiftly, crossing the hill without difficulty. Maya watched their movements and made small corrections. When Liam slipped on a loose rock, she caught his arm and steadied him. "Thanks," he muttered, a hint of respect in his voice. As they approached the river, the challenge became more difficult. The water was fast and the stones slippery. Some recruits hesitated, unsure how to cross without falling. Maya studied the riverbank carefully and pointed out safe stepping stones. "Step here first, then there," she instructed calmly. "Take your time, but stay focused." One by one, her team crossed safely. Maya followed last, helping anyone who struggled. By the time they reached the other side, the sun was climbing higher, and the team was breathing heavily but relieved. They entered the forest next. Shadows moved among the trees and the ground was uneven. The team had to navigate using the map and compass, but Maya's experience showed. She carefully read the landmarks and led them on a clear path. Occasionally, she paused to double-check the map and adjusted their route. The others began to trust her instincts completely. At one point, Nina stumbled over a tree root. Maya caught her shoulder and steadied her. Be careful, she said. The ground is tricky here. Nina nodded, grateful. Even Liam, who had been skeptical, started following her guidance without question. Maya could sense the shift in their attitude. They had begun to see her not just as the girl with the tattoo, but as someone dependable and strong. After several hours, the team reached the final checkpoint. They were exhausted but proud. The instructor nodded at them, clearly impressed. Well done, he said. Your teamwork and endurance have improved significantly. Some of you have learned the value of quiet leadership today. Maya's team exchanged smiles. The boy who had mocked her first now looked at her with respect, and even the other recruits whispered among themselves about her skills and the mysterious tattoo. Maya remained calm, allowing her actions to speak louder than words. As they rested under the shade of tall trees, Maya felt a quiet pride. The first few days had tested her strength, endurance, and patience, and she had passed each test with focus and skill. She knew the tattoo on her arm was more than a mark. It was a symbol of her past, a reminder of her courage and the missions she had completed before, even if no one fully understood it yet. The other recruits were beginning to sense that Maya was not like anyone they had met before. She carried herself with quiet confidence, and her actions proved her abilities every step of the way. The sun began to dip lower, painting the sky in soft shades of orange and pink. Maya stood, stretching her tired muscles, and looked at her team. They had worked together, trusted each other, and grown stronger as a unit. Today had been another step forward, and she felt certain that she was beginning to leave a lasting impression on everyone around her. Boot camp was not only about strength and endurance. It was about courage, teamwork, and determination, and Maya had shown that she possessed all of these qualities. As the team prepared to return to camp, Maya glanced down at her tattoo. It had been a silent part of her story so far, but soon it would tell the full tale. For now, it was enough that her actions had spoken louder than any words. Maya led her team back across the field, her head held high, her mind calm, and her heart steady. The day had been long and exhausting, but it had also been another victory in quiet strength and unspoken skill. The next day at boot camp began with a sharp breeze that rustled the trees. Maya stood at the edge of the training field, stretching her arms and taking deep breaths. Each day the challenges seemed harder, but she had grown more confident. Her focus had sharpened, and she could sense that the other recruits were beginning to notice her skills. As she joined the group, she caught glimpses of whispers and sideways glances. Some of the recruits were still curious about the tattoo on her arm, and a few were trying to guess the meaning behind it. Maya simply smiled faintly to herself. Her story was hers alone, and she would reveal it when the time was right. The instructor blew the whistle and called the recruits together. Today, you will face a challenge that tests your strength, agility, and teamwork under pressure, he announced. The obstacle course is longer, and there will be multiple tasks along the way. Pay attention, work together, and finish as a team. Maya stepped forward confidently. She glanced at her team, Liam, Nina, and Amir, and nodded. We can do this, she said calmly. Her voice carried assurance, and the others straightened up, inspired by her presence. The whistle blew, and the teams moved toward the obstacle course. Maya's group approached the first challenge, a tall wall with ropes dangling from the top. Several recruits hesitated, unsure if they could climb it. Maya examined the ropes carefully, then demonstrated a smooth and safe technique to climb. Follow my steps, she instructed. Take your time and don't rush. One by one, her team climbed steadily, their confidence growing with each successful move. Even Liam, who had mocked her days before, followed her instructions without question. When Amir struggled, Maya held his hand and helped him to the top. Next came a series of balance beams, narrow and shaky, stretching across a muddy pit. The recruits paused, unsure how to proceed. Maya walked calmly across the first beam, her movement steady and deliberate. She reached out to guide the others, showing them how to maintain balance and move carefully. By the time they crossed, the team was breathing heavily but relieved. The instructor blew the whistle again, signaling the final stage, a timed run through the forest to find several hidden checkpoints. Maya's team set off, navigating quickly while checking the map and compass. The forest was tricky, filled with uneven ground, fallen branches, and hidden roots. Many recruits hesitated, but Maya led with confidence, pointing out safe routes and ensuring her team stayed together. Halfway through, They reached a small clearing where the sun broke through the trees. Maya paused and noticed a few of the other recruits watching from a distance. They whispered among themselves, clearly curious about her movements and skills. She rolled up her sleeves slightly, revealing more of the tattoo along her forearm. The boy who had mocked her earlier, Liam, looked at it again. His face went pale. I didn't know she had done all this before, he muttered under his breath. Maya did not respond. She knew her actions spoke louder than words. Her team moved steadily from checkpoint to checkpoint, finding each location faster than some of the other groups. By the time they finished the run, sweat streamed down their faces and their legs were sore. But they had completed every task successfully. The instructor nodded in approval. "Excellent work," he said. "You have shown skill, teamwork, and focus. Some of you have learned that quiet strength can guide others more effectively than loud commands." As the team rested, Liam finally spoke to Maya. I never thought you would be this strong," he admitted. "And that tattoo, it's impressive," Maya smiled gently. "It's part of my past," she said calmly. "One day you will understand it. For now, let's focus on what we can do together." The others nodded. They had begun to see Maya as more than just a recruit with a mysterious tattoo. She had proven herself through skill, patience, and quiet leadership. As the sun lowered in the sky, casting warm light over the training grounds, Maya felt a sense of satisfaction. Each day brought new challenges, but she had faced them with courage and calm determination. The recruits were beginning to respect her not for the tattoo, but for the person she was, strong, steady, and reliable. Maya looked at her team and nodded. They were ready for whatever came next, and she was ready to lead by example. Bootcamp was testing everyone, but Maya knew that her actions, patience, and skill would continue to make a difference. The next morning, the bootcamp was quiet and still. A thin layer of mist hovered over the field, and Maya could see her breath in the cool air. Today's challenge promised to be the toughest yet. She tightened her backpack straps and walked toward the gathering of recruits. As she approached, she noticed whispers immediately. Some of the recruits were staring at her tattoo again. The boy who had mocked her, Liam, looked pale and unsure. Maya ignored the stares. She had faced tougher situations before, and nothing at boot camp could shake her focus. The instructor blew the whistle sharply. "Today you will face a simulation exercise. You must complete multiple tasks as a team under pressure. Listen, follow, and stay together." Maya joined her team. Liam, Nina, and Amir. They exchanged brief nods, each understanding that Maya's calm presence would guide them. The first task was a climbing wall with ropes swinging in the wind. Many recruits hesitated. Maya walked up confidently, gripping the rope and climbing steadily. "Follow my pace," she said calmly. "Don't rush, stay steady." One by one, her team climbed safely. When Liam stumbled, she grabbed his hand and helped him steady himself. His face went red, but he didn't protest. He had learned to trust her. Next came a mud-filled pit with narrow beams stretched across it. The other team struggled, some falling into the thick mud. Maya led her team carefully, showing how to balance and move steadily. They crossed successfully without a single fall. Other recruits stopped to watch, whispering among themselves. The instructor blew the whistle again, signaling the final part of the exercise, a run through the forest to collect several hidden markers. Maya's team moved quickly, scanning the ground and using the map and compass carefully. The forest was dense, with fallen branches and hidden roots that could trip anyone who rushed. At a small clearing, Maya paused to check the map. She rolled up her sleeve slightly, revealing the tattoo along her forearm. It was intricate and detailed, a mark that hinted at her past missions. Liam noticed it and went pale. "That tattoo is from real missions, isn't it?" he whispered. Maya looked at him calmly. "Yes, Operation Phantom Dust, I was part of it. But today is about this team, not my past," she said quietly. The team moved forward, finding markers quickly and efficiently. They stayed together, communicated quietly, and avoided mistakes that many other teams made. By the time they returned to the starting point, they were exhausted, their clothes muddy. But they had completed every task perfectly. The instructor nodded, impressed. "Excellent work. This team showed skill, teamwork, and focus under pressure. Some of you have learned that true strength is shown through action, not words." The other recruits looked at Maya with new understanding. Liam, once mocking, now stared in awe. "I didn't know," he began, then stopped, clearly unable to express his surprise. Maya smiled gently. It's okay. You'll learn more as time goes on. For now, let's focus on moving forward. Nina and Amir nodded in agreement. The respect toward Maya had grown stronger with each challenge. The team had started to rely on her judgment and guidance, and her quiet confidence had earned their trust completely. As the day ended, the recruits returned to camp. Maya sat quietly under a tree, reflecting on the exercise. She knew that the tattoo on her arm was more than just a mark. It was proof of her past experiences, her courage, and her dedication. The other recruits were beginning to understand that she was not someone to underestimate. Maya felt a quiet pride. Each day, each challenge had shown her that strength came in many forms. It was not just physical skill, but patience, intelligence, and the ability to help others succeed. Today, she had proven that to everyone around her. As the sun dipped low, casting long shadows over the field, Maya looked at her team. They had worked together, trusted her guidance, and grown stronger. The first week of boot camp had been challenging, but Maya had already made a lasting impression. Tomorrow, she knew, would bring new challenges. But she was ready. Her focus was sharp, her heart steady, and her determination unshakable. Boot camp had only just begun, and Maya's story was unfolding with every step. The morning air at boot camp was crisp and fresh. Maya woke with a quiet determination. Today was the final challenge of the week, and she could feel that it would test everything the recruits had learned so far. She adjusted her backpack and took a deep breath, her eyes scanning the training grounds. The other recruits were already gathered, stretching and preparing. Some of them glanced at Maya, their expressions a mix of curiosity, respect, and nervousness. The tattoo along her forearm had become a topic of silent awe. Even Liam, who had mocked her at the very beginning, seemed nervous in her presence. Maya walked calmly to her team, Liam, Nina, and Amir. The instructor blew the whistle sharply. Final challenge. Today you will navigate the full course. Hills, forests, rivers, and obstacles. Every team must complete it together. This is not just about speed or strength. It is about skill, focus, and teamwork. Maya nodded to her team. We have done hard things before. Stay focused and trust each other, she said. Her voice was calm, steady, and full of quiet confidence. The teams moved toward the first obstacle, a tall wall with swinging ropes. Some recruits hesitated, fear in their eyes. Maya approached confidently and demonstrated the climb, moving smoothly to the top. Follow my steps. Take your time and hold steady, she instructed. Her team climbed carefully. When Liam's hand slipped, Maya caught him quickly, steadying him. He inhaled sharply and nodded, no longer mocking her but relying on her calm guidance. Next was a balance beam stretched over a muddy pit. Many recruits struggled, slipping and falling. Maya led her team carefully, showing them how to keep their center of gravity low and move slowly. Each member crossed successfully, and they moved forward with confidence. The river came next. Fast-moving water and slippery rocks made crossing difficult. Maya studied the currents and picked a safe path. Step here first, then there, she instructed calmly. Her team followed her directions exactly, crossing without falling. Finally, they entered the dense forest. Hidden checkpoints were scattered throughout, and teams had to find them using only a map and compass. Maya's past experience guided her steps. She noticed small details in the trees, the shapes of rocks, and the patterns in the ground. Each clue led them closer to the checkpoints, and her team followed her precisely. At one clearing, Maya paused and rolled up her sleeve fully, revealing the tattoo from Operation Phantom Dust. The intricate design, a mark of her courage and past missions, caught the sunlight. Liam stepped back, his face pale. I didn't know, he whispered. Maya looked at him calmly. It's part of my past, but today is about this team. What we do together matters more than what I have done before. Her team reached the final checkpoint together. Exhausted, muddy, and sweating, they had completed every task perfectly. The instructor nodded, clearly impressed. Excellent work, he said. You have shown skill, focus, teamwork, and leadership. Today proves that quiet confidence and experience matter as much as physical strength. The other recruits stared at Maya, a new respect shining in their eyes. They whispered among themselves about her tattoo and the mysterious missions it represented. Liam, who had once mocked her, now looked at her with admiration. You are amazing, he admitted quietly. Maya smiled. It's not about me. It's about what we accomplished together, she said softly. Nina and Amir nodded in agreement. The team had learned that leadership was not about shouting commands or showing off. It was about calm guidance, patience, and using skill wisely. Maya had shown them all. As the sun began to set, painting the sky with shades of orange and pink, Maya looked at her team and then at the other recruits. Bootcamp had been tough, full of challenges that tested strength, endurance, and courage. But it had also shown that real power came from knowledge, experience, and the ability to help others succeed. Maya stood tall, her heart steady, her mind calm. She had earned respect not through words but through action. The tattoo from Operation Phantom Dust was no longer just a secret. It was proof of her courage and dedication. The recruits who had mocked her now understood that Maya was someone extraordinary. As the day ended and the teams gathered for final instructions, Maya felt a quiet sense of pride. Boot camp had tested them all, but she had proven that strength came in many forms. She had faced the challenges calmly, led by example, and earned trust and respect along the way. The sky turned soft purple as Maya walked back to the camp, her team beside her. She knew the journey ahead would continue to test them, but she was ready. Today had shown everyone that courage, skill, and quiet determination could inspire others and change first impressions forever. Maya smiled faintly, her mind calm and her heart steady. Boot camp had begun with mockery, but it ended with respect. She had left her mark, and her story, along with the legacy of Operation Phantom Dust, would never be forgotten.